I built my business from the ground up. Every sleepless night, every risk, every deal, it was all me. By the time I was 38, my construction company was one of the top firms in the city. My wife, Sana, and I had been married for 12 years, and we had a beautiful 10-year-old daughter, Aleena. I thought my life was perfect. I thought I had a family worth protecting. But I was wrong. It started subtly. Sana began complaining that I was too focused on work and not giving enough time to the family. I thought she was right, so I tried to cut back on hours. But the business demanded attention, contracts, suppliers, and employees who depended on me. I promised her that everything I was doing was for our future, for Aleena's education, for security. Then one day, Sana came to me with an idea. "Samir," she said sweetly, "I think we should make Aleena a shareholder in your company. It's smart, we secure her future, and it helps us legally with taxes." It sounded harmless. I trusted my wife. I signed the documents she prepared. With my lawyer's approval, Aleena became a 30% shareholder on paper. I didn't think twice about it. That decision almost destroyed me. Months later, I started noticing odd behaviors. Sana was on her phone constantly, whispering late at night. She became secretive about her whereabouts, dressing up more often, and always claimed she was out meeting friends. My gut screamed something was wrong, but I buried my doubts, until one night, when I walked past Aleena's room and overheard her crying. I knocked gently and asked what happened. Through her tears, she whispered, "Daddy, Mama says you don't love us anymore because you only love your company." I froze. "Who told you that?" I asked. "Mama and Uncle Imran." Imran, my former project manager, a man I had fired a year earlier for stealing money from company funds. My blood ran cold. That night, while Sana was asleep, I checked her phone. I expected to find messages between her and Imran. I was wrong. It was worse. She and Imran weren't just having an affair. They were plotting to take over my company, using my daughter as a weapon against me. The plan was sickeningly detailed in their messages. They had convinced Aleena that I didn't care about her, pushing her emotionally to choose Mama. Sana was manipulating Aleena's 30% share to file a petition to remove me as CEO, citing mental instability and neglect. Imran was feeding Sana confidential business info and lining up suppliers to flip against me. They were already drafting court documents to force me out of my own company. I sat there shaking, my hands trembling so violently I nearly dropped the phone. My own wife, my own daughter's name, my own blood being used as a pawn to destroy everything I built, but I didn't confront her. Not yet. Revenge isn't loud, it's quiet, precise, calculated. I contacted my lawyer the next morning and told him everything. He immediately advised me to start moving assets and collecting evidence. I hired a private investigator who gathered weeks' worth of photos, call logs, and recordings of Sana and Imran's secret meetings. I mirrored her emails, tracked her financial transfers, and built a complete case file. Then I set my trap. I called Sana one night and told her I'd signed a major government contract worth millions. I acted excited, exaggerating details, knowing she'd run straight to Imran with the good news. She did. And my investigator caught her on video bragging about how they'd soon own everything. After 4 weeks of preparation, I filed a motion in court to block Sana and Aleena's petition to remove me as CEO. At the same time, I launched a silent internal audit of the company, uncovering a series of suspicious financial transactions linked directly to Imran's accounts, all traced back through Sana's authorizations. The day of the board meeting was unforgettable. Sana walked in confidently, dressed like she was about to own the world, holding Aleena's hand tightly. Imran was sitting next to her, smirking. I sat at the head of the table, silent, watching their arrogance. Sana started her speech. "Samir has neglected this company, and more importantly, his family. We have legal grounds to remove him and secure our daughter's future." I cut her off. "Before you continue, I'd like everyone to watch this." I handed the board members a USB drive. On the screen, photos appeared. Sana and Imran. In a hotel room, messages plotting to steal the company, voice recordings of her coaching Aleena to hate me. Gasps filled the room. Sana's face turned pale. Imran looked like he'd seen a ghost. "By the way," I said calmly, "Imran, you should probably check your bank account. The police are on their way." Within minutes, 2 officers walked into the boardroom and handcuffed him on charges of corporate fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. Sana stood frozen, whispering, "Samir, please. We can fix this." "Fix?" I leaned forward. "You tried to take my company, my daughter, and my life's work. You turned Aleena against me. You don't get to fix this." I filed for full custody of Aleena that same day, presenting the court with proof of Sana's manipulation and her involvement in corporate crimes. It took 3 months, but I won. Aleena stayed with me. Sana was granted limited supervised visits. But my revenge didn't end there. I filed civil suits against Sana for damages caused to my company. I froze every joint account, seized every asset she thought she'd take, and left her with nothing. Her family begged me to forgive her, but forgiveness died the day she weaponized our daughter against me. As for Imran, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison for fraud and theft. Sana, though not criminally charged, became a social pariah, losing her reputation and her circle of friends. Today, my company thrives. Aleena is in therapy, healing from her mother's manipulation. I never speak ill of Sana in front of her, but she knows the truth now. And Sana? She lives in a rented apartment, working a low-level job, completely forgotten by the world she once tried to control. She thought she could break me by using my daughter against me. Instead, I crushed them both, legally, financially, and emotionally. Because you don't touch a man's child, and you don't come for his empire.